Welcome to Zoe Crossdressing. Check out my Patreon. Sorry, Tristan, said his mother. Your Halloween costume did not get packed for the visit to Grandma's, so you have nothing for the party was tonight, and the zombie tutu costume, carefully planned and loudly requested, had been left behind on purpose. Tristan's mother stood in the doorway of her old bedroom, arms folded, eyes drifting toward the cedar wardrobe that still smelled faintly of perfume and time. I know this isn't what you wanted, she said gently, already halfway into another idea. But I still have clothes here. From when I was about your age. Tristan frowned. That didn't sound promising. And if you really wanted to go old school, she added, her voice brightening, your grandmother still has her party dress from when she was a girl. Early 60s. Petticoats, flared skirt, the whole thing. She had already thought it through. The shoes, newly bought because the originals were long gone. The hairstyle too, a neat, towering beehive, just like the photos from old magazines. Her mother, Tristan's grandmother, had loved the idea immediately. She never had much patience for boys, but she had adored dressing up her daughter for parties, and this felt like a second chance at that joy. Tristan just stared at her. No zombie, he asked quietly. I really wanted to be a zombie. I know, his mother said, reaching out to squeeze his shoulder. And you can be next year. But just for tonight, you could be a party girl from the 60s. We'll do your hair, dress you up, it'll be fun. He pulled back. That's different. Dressing up is one thing. Pretending to be a girl? People will laugh at me. She shook her head immediately. They won't. No one there knows you. You could be my cousin's daughter. I'll make you look lovely. They won't even guess. She smiled, a little too eagerly. Since her husband's death, something in her had shifted, an ache she didn't know how to name. More than once over the past months, she'd told Tristan how much it would mean to her to have mother-daughter time, even if only in small ways. At first, he had refused outright. But time has a way of softening edges. She let his hair grow longer. Bought clothes that weren't clearly meant for boys or girls. Little changes. At home, he started noticing his hair, first tying it back just to keep it out of his eyes, then experimenting, headbands, neat braids, high ponytails. It stopped feeling strange. It started feeling normal. Now, standing in front of the wardrobe, with music drifting up from the party down the road, Tristan hesitated. It still wasn't a zombie costume. But it also wasn't as scary as it used to be. Little by little, things had changed, almost without Tristan noticing at first. What began as small moments at home turned into something he quietly looked forward to. About 3 months earlier, his mother had convinced him to try on a dress for the first time. That moment, simple as it seemed, shifted everything. It opened the door to more shared time together, quiet evenings, laughter, experiments with clothes and hairstyles. Still, one line remained firm in Tristan's mind: he did not want to be seen in public like that. His mother, however, was already thinking ahead. Late one night, scrolling through forums and blogs, she discovered a private group, a kind of club for mothers and sons who were gently exploring a softer, more feminine side of life. She saved the page instantly. It felt like destiny. But when she mentioned it, Tristan shut down again. Public spaces still felt like too much. That was when frustration drove her to call her own mother. Her mother listened patiently, then suggested a solution that felt bold, clever, and final: Halloween. Costumes meant no explanations. No questions. Just play. And now, here they were. Well, maybe I can just stay home tonight, Tristan said, already sensing the futility of the idea. No, his mother replied firmly. Absolutely not. I'm not leaving you alone in a house you barely know, at night. You're too young. Her tone closed the subject instantly. Then it softened. And it's not like you hate dressing up, she added quietly. Besides, you'd be doing both me and Grandma a big favor. She gave him that look, the one that always worked. Tristan sighed, but he was smiling. Truth was, he didn't really mind anymore. Those moments when he stepped into that other version of himself felt light. Fun. Safe. And the thought of wearing that old-fashioned party dress, layers and all, sparked a flutter of excitement. He had seen the photographs. His grandmother as a child, dressed up and beaming, hair done perfectly for some long-ago celebration. All dolled up, Grandma used to say with a laugh. It did sound like fun. Okay, he said at last. Tess would love to go to the party. Just promise me you'll do a really good job. I don't want anyone guessing. His mother's face lit up. Of course, sweetheart. Mommy would never let anything happen to her pretty girl. As Tristan headed toward the bathroom, she turned to her mother and whispered excitedly, I can't wait. The dress, the hair, everything. Looks like the 3 Wilson girls are going out tonight. She hurried to retrieve the carefully hung dress from the back of her mother's bedroom door, already convinced the youngest Wilson girl would steal the show. Down the hallway, Tristan felt a strange mix of nerves and excitement, like standing at the top of a roller coaster just before the drop. His feet carried him toward the bathroom as a tune slipped out of him without thinking. A Shania Twain song. Yes, that one. He laughed quietly to himself, shut the door, and stepped into the shower. Warm water washed over him as he reached for the shampoo, working it into his long, auburn blonde hair. As steam filled the room, his thoughts drifted back over the past year. His father had died just over 12 months ago in a sudden accident. Tristan missed him deeply, even though his dad had often been away for work. That loss had drawn him closer to his mother, closer than ever before. She had changed after the funeral. The grief hit her hard, reopening wounds from her own childhood, when she had lost her father at just 8 years old. About a month after her husband's death, she had asked Tristan a question that caught him completely off guard. Would he ever dress up, just for her? Back then, he had said no without hesitation. He was a boy. And boys didn't wear dresses. Not yet, anyway. His mother nodded when he said no. She tried to smile, but it didn't hold. Her eyes filled, and before he could say anything else, she turned away, quietly wiping her face. Tristan didn't know what to do, so he said nothing, but the heaviness in his chest stayed with him long after. Not long after that, small things began to change. New clothes appeared in his drawer. Softer fabrics. Colors that felt different somehow. One day, a white t-shirt showed up with the word juicy printed boldly across the front. He only wore it at home. Some of his new underwear felt different too, lighter, smoother than what he was used to. He noticed, but he didn't comment. They were comfortable, and as long as he wasn't at gym class or practice, it didn't seem to matter. Then there was his hair. His mother stopped scheduling haircuts. Tristan's hair had always grown fast, and now it was doing what it wanted. When she finally trimmed it at home a few months later, she barely took any length off. Half joking, she asked if he wanted it curled. He said no. Are you sure? She teased. It would frame your face perfectly. He said no again. She sighed, said okay, and finished trimming, but when she was done, his hair brushed his shoulders. Those trims became a quiet routine every few months, and each time, the scissors seemed to take less and less. After 9 months, his hair reached almost to his arms. It started getting in his way. When it kept falling into his eyes, his mother suggested tying it back. She handed him a small bundle, hair ties, a band, a few pins, just in case. He resisted at first, pushing it behind his ears instead. That worked until he bent over, and it slipped loose again. Eventually, at home, he tried a low ponytail. Curious and slightly embarrassed, he searched online for ways boys handled long hair. He experimented with styles meant for older guys, top knots, loose buns. The pins helped, but something felt off. He wasn't a man, and the styles didn't quite fit. On him, they made his face look softer. Prettier. That worried him. He imagined whispers at school. Stares. Laughter. So he never wore those styles outside. The only thing he felt comfortable with was a small tie at the front, just enough to keep his hair out of his eyes. Even then, he checked his reflection more than once, unsure. At home, it felt manageable. Out in the world, he wasn't ready. Not yet. So he went back to the familiar routine, tucking his hair behind his ears and pulling it into a low ponytail. It helped, but not enough. Strands still slipped free, brushing his eyes and tickling his cheeks. His gaze drifted around the room, and landed on the blue headband his mother had given him. He hesitated. Oh, whatever, he thought. It's just for around the house. He opened his dresser, another recent addition courtesy of his mom, took out the headband, and slid it carefully into place. Instantly, his hair stayed put. He tipped his head forward. Hardly anything fell into his eyes. So far, so good. Then came the real test. He slowly lifted his head and met his reflection in the mirror perched on top of the dresser. Okay, that doesn't look bad, he muttered, smoothing his hair with his hands. That only made it puff up in odd places. Nope. Not great. He pulled the band off, grabbed his brush, and tried something he'd seen online, brushing everything forward first, then flipping it back and brushing again until it settled more evenly. He slipped the headband back on and looked again. A shiver ran through him. Staring back was someone softer than he expected. Younger. Almost like a girl. His heart thumped. Fear mixed with a strange spark of excitement. He kept staring. Then, without realizing it, he smiled, and the reflection smiled back. That's weird, he whispered. And kind of nice. He took a breath. Definitely not wearing this outside, he decided quickly. But, maybe at home. There was only one real test left, his mother. If she said anything, hinted, teased, reacted, it was coming off immediately. He walked downstairs into the kitchen. His mother was at the stove, stirring something that smelled amazing. She glanced up briefly. Did you wash your hands yet, Tristan? She asked. Dinner's almost ready. That was it. No comment. No pause. No smile. Relief washed over him. Not yet, he said. I'll do it now. As he headed for the powder room, his mother allowed herself a small, private smile. He looks adorable, she thought, but she kept that to herself. Over the past few weeks, she had made a quiet decision. Once a month, she might gently invite him to explore dressing up. Beyond that, no nudging, no hints, no reactions. Tristan had inherited her stubbornness. If he was going to discover anything about himself, it had to be on his own terms. If he never wanted to go further, she would accept that. Support meant patience, not pressure. They ate dinner together, cleared the table, and loaded the dishwasher. Later, they sat side by side watching TV until bedtime. All evening, she never mentioned the headband once, and Tristan appreciated that more than he could explain. One other thing stuck with him from his online searching, though. So many men talked seriously about caring for long hair, products, routines, techniques. It wasn't about pretending to be anyone else. It was just learning how to take care of what he had. And for now, that felt like enough. A few days later, Tristan surprised himself by asking his mom for help. He wanted better shampoo and conditioner. Something for hold, not sticky, just enough to manage flyaways. A proper detangling brush, a couple of combs to go with the one he already owned. She listened carefully, nodded, and added a few extras of her own, hair ties in different colors, thin ones and thicker ones, a couple of soft scrunchies, and even a shower cap for the days he didn't want his hair getting wet. Thank you, he said, meaning it. That request quietly turned into a routine. Washing, conditioning, brushing, combing, tying things back almost every day. It felt oddly calming, like learning a skill that belonged only to him. He kept searching online too, looking for better ways to keep his hair under control. That's when the algorithm shifted. Pages meant for tween girls began popping up, hairstyle galleries, tutorials, step-by-step videos showing braids, twists, and clever ways to gather long hair. Curiosity won. He started watching. What struck him most was how many options there were. Boys' styles felt limited by comparison, functional, simple. These were creative. Expressive. Some of them looked really nice. And more than once, he caught himself wondering what he might look like if his hair were styled that way. The thought made his stomach flutter, half excitement, half nerves. He told himself it was fine. Plenty of guys braided their hair. That made it feel safe enough to try. One afternoon, while his mother was out running errands, Tristan stood in front of his dresser, brush in hand. He gathered all his hair to one side and pulled up a tutorial. 3 strands, the video said. Easy. It was not easy. Which strand went where? Top, middle, bottom, it all blurred together. The first attempt was a mess. The second wasn't much better. But after a few tries, something clicked. He stepped back and studied the result. That's actually okay, he murmured. From then on, he practiced a little every day. Soon, braiding felt natural. He liked a single long braid that started high near the back of his head, it felt neat and balanced. But what he enjoyed most was dividing his hair into 2 sections and braiding them separately, securing each with a small elastic. He looked at himself and smiled. He knew exactly what it looked like. And he didn't mind. It was just him, alone in his room, experimenting. Playing. Over the next couple of months, he added new techniques, French braids, Dutch braids, simple twists. Each one felt like unlocking another small secret. One afternoon, while trying something new, he twisted sections of hair on both sides of his head, braided them, then brought them together at the back and tied them off. Curious, he flipped the joined strands forward so they rested over his shoulders, framing his face. He tilted his head, studying the result. Different. Unexpected. And somehow, right. For now, it stayed his secret, just another discovery made quietly, one strand at a time. Next, Tristan gathered his hair at the crown of his head, tying part of it back and letting the rest fall freely down his shoulders. He took the twisted braids he'd been working on and flipped them back so they rested neatly over the tied section. A couple of bobby pins held everything in place. He turned his head slowly, checking the angle in the mirror. It looked exactly like the girl in the tutorial. That's really pretty, he whispered, surprised by how right it felt. Still, something was missing. The style needed a final touch, something small, something bright. His eyes drifted to the idea immediately. A flower barrette. The thought alone made him exhale slowly. Wanting that felt like crossing an invisible line. He leaned closer to the mirror, studying himself one more time. Okay, he decided. Maybe it's time. His mother had noticed his growing fascination with his hair long ago, and quietly, it made her hopeful. Hair mattered. If Tristan ever said yes to exploring more, she knew it would begin there. That was why she'd been so careful with it, learning from videos, trimming just enough every few months, shaping it gently into something softer, something intentional. Still, despite the longer hair and the subtle changes, Tristan had always drawn a boundary. Until now. She had even prepared for the possibility, tucking away 2 matching dresses, soft florals in pale pink and light blue, never mentioned, never pushed. Just waiting. As she stood in the kitchen lost in thought, Tristan appeared in the doorway. His hair caught her attention immediately. Half up, half down, with the braided detail pinned neatly in place. It framed his face beautifully. He hesitated. Mom? Yes, sweetheart? Can I borrow your flower barrette? He asked carefully. I think it would look nice where the braid sits. Her chest warmed instantly. Of course, she said, keeping her voice calm. I'll get it for you. And, Mom, he added softly. She paused, already sensing the weight behind his tone. Yes? You can dress me up as a girl. The words were simple. Quiet. But they landed like a turning point. She smiled gently. All right, love. Lunch is ready, how about afterward? That sounds good, he said, relief flickering across his face. And could you help with my hair? There's a style I want to try, but I can't quite manage it. I'd love to, she replied, eyes shining. Lunch felt unusually slow for both of them. Between bites, Tristan pulled up the video and showed her the hairstyle he had in mind. Oh, that's lovely, she said sincerely. Elegant, but still fun. She smiled at him. I could do mine to match, if you want. And just like that, what had once felt impossible now felt gentle, shared, and full of quiet excitement, two people stepping into something new together, one careful choice at a time. After lunch, they went upstairs to his mother's room. Sunlight spilled softly through the curtains, and the room felt calm, almost ceremonial. His mother laid a few things out on the bed, simple clothes to change into and a light robe so they could work on hair without worrying about getting anything messy. Where's the dress? Tristan asked, curious. In the closet, she replied. Yours is hanging next to mine. We'll put them on later. First, we do our hair. That way nothing gets ruined. That makes sense, he said, smiling. She nodded toward the bed. Go ahead and change, sweetheart. Then come sit at the vanity. When Tristan returned, he settled onto the stool in front of the mirror. His mother came up behind him and wrapped her arms around his shoulders in a gentle hug. He caught the reflection of her eyes, they were shiny with emotion. Thank you, she whispered. This really means a lot to me. I know, Tristan said quietly. After a moment, he added, but I want this too. I want to feel pretty. Like you. That was when she smiled, softly, warmly, and began. She carefully let his hair fall loose, combing through it slowly, patiently. Working with practiced care, she gathered sections near the top of his head, securing them neatly, shaping and pinning with quiet focus. She moved gradually downward, arranging the rest so everything blended together into a single, thoughtful style. Close your eyes for a second, she said gently. Just in case. When she finished, she stepped back, adjusted a few stray strands, and added a small floral clip near the side, simple and understated. Oh, she breathed. That looks beautiful. Tristan opened his eyes and stared at the mirror. Looking back wasn't just himself anymore, it was a softer version, calm and composed. A child who looked happy. He didn't say anything at first. Then, quietly, Mom, it's amazing. Inside, his thoughts were louder than his voice ever could be. She smiled, clearly moved. That style really suits you, she said. Now, my turn. They switched places. Tristan watched as his mother brushed out her own hair, her movements lighter than he remembered. She looked different, not younger, exactly, but brighter. Happier. As she worked, she began humming softly, a familiar country tune drifting through the room. For the first time in a long while, Tristan noticed something important. His mom wasn't just remembering who she had lost. She was remembering who she still was. And sitting there together, sharing that quiet moment, felt like the beginning of something new, for both of them. Once their hair was finished, Tristan's mother stepped back and smiled. Now, the dresses, sweetheart, she said softly. She moved to her wardrobe and opened the door, revealing two carefully chosen dresses, one pale pink, the other a soft light blue, both with flared A-line skirts that hinted at playful movement. Come here, honey, she beckoned. Tristan approached as she held out the dress. "Can you step into this one for me?" she asked. He nodded and did as instructed. Gently, she pulled the dress over his shoulders and zipped it up the back. The fabric felt light and soft against his skin, swishing slightly with each movement. "Well?" his mother asked, eyes sparkling. Tristan turned toward the full-length mirror. The reflection that looked back wasn't exactly himself, it was the girl he had glimpsed in the vanity mirror earlier, now complete with a pretty dress. He shifted his hips experimentally, watching the skirt flare as he twirled. He stopped and faced his mother. I love it," he exclaimed, almost breathless with excitement, and gave her a tight hug. "Oh, darling," she whispered, hugging him back. "You look so beautiful. Mommy's pretty girl." Her eyes softened, a glimmer of tears forming again. "But, if we're going to do this properly, maybe we need a new name for tonight?" Without hesitation, Tristan said, "Tessa. Or Tess, for short." She blinked, touched. Tessa was her own middle name, a small, quiet connection to her own childhood. "Tess," she said, her voice catching. "It's perfect." She then pulled her own dress from the wardrobe. It matched in tone, though hers was off the shoulder with slightly flared sleeves, a more mature reflection of the same style. "Tess," she said, smiling, "would you help zip this up for Mommy?" Tess moved behind her mother, carefully securing the zipper and smoothing the fabric. Her mother turned slightly, brushing the sides to make sure everything lay perfectly. "Now, let's see ourselves together," she said. They stood side by side in front of the mirror, mother and daughter. Her arms wrapped around Tess in a gentle hug. "You look adorable," she whispered. "And not too bad either." "Mommy, you look beautiful," Tess corrected softly, a shy smile forming on her lips. Her mother grinned. "Can you twirl for me, darling?" Tess laughed and spun, watching the skirt lift and sway. They spent the next half-hour twirling, adjusting, and admiring each other's reflections, lost in the simple joy of the moment. Tessa's mother found herself wishing she had an entire wardrobe full of dresses for her daughter, if only to see that happy, bright smile more often. Her mother smiled as she watched Tess twirl in the dress. "We'll have to fix our wardrobes someday," she said, but for now, they decided to have a little fun dressing up in Mommy's clothes too. Laughter filled the room, it was light-hearted, silly, and just what they both needed. After about an hour, her mother leaned closer. "Would you like to try a little makeup, darling? You're still young, so nothing fancy, just some soft eyeshadow, a touch of lip gloss, maybe even a little sparkle in your hair." Tessa's eyes lit up. "That sounds fun." Back in her robe, she sat at the vanity while her mother guided her carefully. For the next half hour, they worked together, lining the eyes, blending shadow, and letting Tess help with the eyelashes. When they finished, her blue eyes seemed brighter, almost sparkling. A dab of pale pink lip gloss completed the look, followed by a hint of shimmer in her hair. Tess stared at her reflection in awe. She had never looked so put together, so radiant. "Mommy, can I have some makeup to practice at home?" Her mother laughed softly. "Not too much, sweetie. But I can teach you, yes, of course." The mother-daughter time was turning out better than either of them had imagined. Tess had embraced the experience more readily than she, or Tristan, had expected. Her mother felt a quiet happiness settle in her chest. That night, dressed in a pale blue nightgown with her hair tied back with a ribbon, Tess reflected on the day. It had been fun. Really fun. And seeing her mother smile so freely had made it even more special. "Well, sweetheart," her mother asked, "how was our mother-daughter time?" "More fun than I expected," Tess admitted. "I loved the hair, the makeup, and the dress felt so nice." Her mother's eyes lit up. "Would you like to do it again sometime?" "Sure," Tess replied eagerly. "Can I wear a party dress next time and put my hair up again?" "Of course," her mother said, smiling. "And maybe a mother-daughter shopping trip, or even a whole weekend just for us." Tess hesitated. No, just you and me. I don't want other people to see me dressed like this. They might laugh. Her mother reached out gently. Sweetheart, they won't. No one will know. They'll just see my pretty daughter. But Tess shook her head. Not ready yet, Mom. And that became their rhythm. For the next 4 months, Tess's dressing up sessions grew frequent, happening almost weekly. Her wardrobe expanded: sundresses, shirt dresses, tulle skirts, A-line dresses, shift and smock styles, tank dresses, ballet tutus, even a cheerleader outfit. They shopped mostly at secondhand stores, letting imagination and creativity guide their choices. Her mother filled in the details: matching shoes, socks, hair accessories, and delicate touches like flower clips or ribbons. Each new addition opened more possibilities for hairstyles, braids, and playful experiments with color and shape. By the time school started, Tess returned to simple styles during the day: low ponytails or half up, half down, but as soon as she got home, the vanity came alive again. Brushes, combs, sprays, hair ties, clips, and occasionally a little gloss would reappear. Tess even started an online persona, sharing her thoughts and tips on hair and makeup tutorials. It was all private, a little world she controlled, where she could explore and create freely. Public appearances as Tess, however, remained off limits. For now, her experimentation, her creativity, and her mother's gentle guidance were enough. And in the safety of home, Tess could be exactly who she wanted to be: curious, playful, and confident in her own reflection. It was September, and Tristan had just turned 10. His mother had wrapped a few special gifts, one set for Tristan, another for Tess, her little persona she had grown to love. I know you're getting older, his mother said with a small smile, but every girl should have a favorite stuffed toy, and at least one Barbie doll. Tess's face lit up. Thank you, Mommy, she said, hugging the box. She pulled out a delicate tutu and a little barrette. I'll call her Mrs. Fussy Pants, she said with a grin, referencing her mother with a wink. Her mother chuckled softly. Always fussing over everyone, huh? A brief pause settled between them. Mom, Tess began, do you think I could go out for my birthday? Her mother hesitated, a shadow of concern crossing her face. Sweetie, we talked about this. I know you love dressing up, but you're not ready to go out as a boy pretending to be a girl. That's okay. Tess nodded. Maybe Halloween then? A costume? Well, her mother said with a mischievous glint, lots of boys dress up for Halloween. But we're at Grandma's this year, and there's a party. So if you take too long deciding, you'll wear what I choose. She gave that look, half teasing, half serious. Okay, Tess sighed. I'll pick my costume. And so it began. Tess dried her hair carefully, section by section, until it was just damp enough to style. She brushed it behind her ears, letting her fringe fall neatly to the sides. She slipped into the delicate underlayers, soft, familiar fabrics her mother or grandmother had left out for her, and made her way to her mother's old childhood room. Waiting were her mother and grandmother. Take a seat at the vanity, sweetie, her mother said gently. We need to do your hair first. I'm going to do it in a beehive style, just like Grandma wore when she was your age. High at the top, with a fringe across the front. Tess's mother picked up the hairdryer and brush, working on a low setting. She carefully lifted the hair at the crown, letting strands fall naturally for the fringe. Gathering the rest, she twisted it into a small bun and rolled it under itself, securing it with bobby pins at the back. The sides were brushed smooth and pinned neatly. She teased small sections to add volume, then shaped the fringe with a styling brush. A final mist of hairspray held everything in place, and a tiny white bow crowned the top where the fringe met the beehive. Tess watched herself in the mirror, mesmerized. The transformation was more than just hair, it was a shift, a feeling of stepping fully into the character she loved to play. She felt the last traces of boyhood fade into a moment of girlish delight. Her mother stepped back, smiling. Well, what do you think? Oh, Mommy, Tess whispered, eyes wide, I love it. I look just like Grandma did. Her grandmother, who had been quietly observing, added with a twinkle in her eye, You're even prettier, dear. Tess turned slightly in the mirror, admiring the reflection, her hair, her smile, her posture, and felt a warmth in her chest. Between her glowing complexion, the broad happiness in her smile, and the perfectly styled hair, she realized something simple and wonderful. This was her moment, shared with the two women she loved most in the world. I think my pretty daughter will be the belle of the ball, her mother said, smiling warmly. Okay, honey, she added. Now for a little makeup. Not too much, you're only 10. Gently, she dusted Tess's cheeks with a soft powder and applied a light touch of eyeliner to highlight her eyes. Then she handed Tess a small tube of pale pink lip gloss. Tess applied it carefully while staring at her reflection. For a moment, she hardly recognized herself, her blue eyes seemed brighter, her lips delicate and shiny. She really was beautiful. Okay, darling, her mother said, bringing her back to the moment. Time to get you dressed. Grandma and I need to finish getting ready too. On the bed lay the petticoats, crisp and light. Tess had never worn them before, and a flutter of anticipation ran through her. Her mother picked them up, held them together, and lowered them to the floor. Step into these for me, sweetheart, she said. Tess obeyed, slipping her legs through the soft layers. Her mother pulled the petticoats up and secured them at the back. The delicate fabric brushed her legs and flared out gently from her hips. Now for the dress, her mother said. She lifted the pink and blue A-line dress carefully over Tess's head so as not to disturb her hairstyle. Tess slipped her arms through the sleeves, while her mother and grandmother smoothed the skirt over the petticoats. Her mother adjusted the bodice so it fit snugly and fastened the top button at the back. Finally, she zipped the dress, arranged the skirt, and stepped back, her eyes shining. Tess felt her chest tighten with emotion. Oh, Tess, you look so lovely, her mother whispered. Do I, Mommy? I want to see, Tess replied, a little breathless. She walked to the full-length mirror. The rustle of the dress and petticoats announced her presence as a darling, 10-year-old girl. Her pink satin shoes, complete with tiny bows on the back, were the final touch. She had worn small heels before, so they felt familiar and safe. Her mother and grandmother busied themselves with their own finishing touches. While they prepared, Tess twirled in front of the mirror. The skirt flared, revealing the petticoats underneath, and a thrill ran from her head to her toes. She felt light, playful, and just herself. Finally, her mother and grandmother were ready. It was time. The ride to the community hall was quiet. Tess's excitement began to waver as nerves crept in. I can't do it, Mommy, she whispered, panic rising. They'll know I'm a boy, and they'll laugh. Her mother reached over and held her hand. No, they won't, she said softly but firmly. I understand your worry. But for tonight, you are my Tess, the very pretty daughter of my cousin, staying for a few weeks. Look in the mirror and tell me what you see. Tess turned toward the rearview mirror. All she saw was a very pretty, slightly nervous girl. A pretty girl, she said hesitantly. Yes, her mother said, brushing a loose strand from Tess's face. A very pretty girl, and no one will know anything else unless you choose to tell them. She dabbed Tess's eyes gently with a tissue. Tess took a deep breath and nodded. Okay, she said, a little more confidently. Then let's go, my 3 Wilson girls, her mother said with a grin. Tess rearranged her skirt, hugged her mother and grandmother tightly, and stepped out of the car. As they entered the hall, she straightened her shoulders, took a deep breath, and let herself feel the excitement rather than the fear. The hall was packed, the air full of laughter and music. Tess walked alongside her mother and grandmother, holding her head high. She was ready. Tonight, she was just Tess, and for the first time, that felt wonderful. The lady at the entrance smiled as she took their tickets and turned to Tess. Your grandma mentioned you were her cousin's daughter. Tristan couldn't make it, I hear he's off at summer camp? Tess said nothing. Deep down, she realized what was happening. Her mother and grandmother had orchestrated this. She should have felt upset, maybe even angry, but she didn't. Her protests about dressing as a girl had been half-hearted at best, and the moment her mother suggested Grandma's old party dress, she had been eager to dress up. Over the last few months, she had discovered just how much she loved it: clothes, hairstyles, makeup, and most of all, the special time spent with her mother. "I'm Tess," she finally replied softly. "Well, I'm Mrs. Saunders," the lady said warmly. "And my daughter Kimberly is in here somewhere. She's not dressed as prettily as you, though. You look darling in that party dress, very 60s. Very elegant. I'll go get her, she's about your age and can't wait to meet you." Tess felt her stomach flutter. Adults were one thing, but meeting a real girl her age, that was a whole different challenge. Her legs felt suddenly wobbly. Then a voice called behind her. "Hi, I'm Kimberly. My friends call me Kimmy. You must be Mrs. Wilson's cousin's daughter. Or Tess?" Tess turned to see a striking blonde girl, around 11, dressed in a boy's football uniform. Even in that, Kimmy looked confident and pretty, and Tess felt a new kind of nervousness. "I'm fine," Tess said, trying to sound casual. "Why don't you join your friends?" Kimmy laughed and grabbed her hand. Before Tess could protest, she was being led into a smaller room next to the main hall. Inside, a lively mix of children in costumes greeted her. Kimmy waved toward two girls, one dressed as Goldilocks, complete with playful space buns, and another as a tiny devil with a pitchfork and tail. "Hey girls, this is Tess," Kimmy introduced. "She's staying here with her grandma and aunt for the week." "Hi," the girls chorused. "I'm Aunt is fine," Tess said quickly, remembering her instructions. "And where are you from, Tess?" they asked together. "Savannah, Georgia," she replied, following the details her mother had coached her on during the car ride. It matched her online persona too. "You don't sound Southern, Rose," the girl in the devil costume said skeptically. "I'm originally from Delaware, moved a few years ago," Tess answered smoothly. "I love your costume. Who are you supposed to be?" Rose asked. "My grandma, when she was my age," Tess replied. "That's clever, and really pretty. Are those petticoats?" Tess nodded. "I wore them once to a country dance. I love that style, so girly." "Do you look like her?" Rose asked. "People say I do," Tess answered honestly. "So, what do you like to do for fun?" Olivia asked. Tess hesitated for a moment, then thought quickly. "I like sports, running and swimming, but I also enjoy trying different hairstyles and makeup tips." The conversation flowed naturally after that. Liv had long, wavy blonde hair and had been doing pageants since she was 6. Rose had deep brown, shoulder-length hair, played tennis, and loved swimming. Kimmy did dance and cheerleading, and adored outdoor activities. "You should try out for cheerleading," Kimmy said suddenly, smiling. "You're definitely pretty enough." That compliment made Tess's chest flutter with excitement. A warm, familiar tingle ran from head to toe. This was fun, this was thrilling, and maybe, just maybe, she could do this. At one point, Kimmy, clearly the ringleader of their little group, clapped her hands and said, "Come on, let's dance." The 4 girls rushed to the floor, forming a loose circle. They experimented with silly moves, laughed at each other's attempts, and complimented, or playfully critiqued, the other costumes. Tess found herself giggling along, completely absorbed in the fun. The room buzzed with energy, and for the first time in a long while, she felt like she truly belonged. Kimmy kept glancing at Tess with a warm, encouraging smile. Tess knew the girls at school, but she hadn't really felt part of a group like this before. Here, she was just another girl having a blast, and it felt incredible. About 45 minutes in, however, the fun was interrupted. A boy appeared at the edge of their circle. "Hi, girls. Can I cut in?" "Who's the new girl?" one of them asked. "Go away, Richard," Kimmy snapped. Richard was dressed in what looked like his football uniform, simple, unremarkable. He towered over Tess by at least a head, and she guessed he was about 13. "This is girls only," Kimmy said firmly. "Go away, brother," echoed Liv. Tess watched the interaction quietly, noting the resemblance between the siblings. "Geez, just wanted to say hi," Richard muttered as the girls all glared at him. He finally walked off, grumbling under his breath. Once he was gone, Kimmy turned to Liv with a mischievous grin. "You know, Liv, your brother is kind of cute." Tess felt a faint pang of jealousy immediately. "Oh, yuck," Liv said, rolling her eyes. "He's my brother." "Just kidding," Kimmy said, winking at Tess. The girls erupted into laughter, the tension instantly dissolving. "Who's hungry?" Kimmy asked, and suddenly everyone realized they were starving. The girls darted to the refreshments table, grabbing chips, candy, and sodas before returning to the dance floor, re-energized. Later that evening came the costume parade. Tess was in the preteen 8 to 12 age group, competing against both boys and girls. She felt a thrill as her name was announced for second place. Liv had won first. Her Goldilocks costume, complete with staff and intricate details, was stunning. Around 10:30, Tess's mother came to find her. "Are you having fun?" she asked softly. "Oh yes, Auntie. It's amazing. Everyone's been so kind," Tess replied. She glanced around nervously, hoping no one had overheard her slip. Her mother leaned down, whispering gently, "Remember, tonight you're my cousin, or your auntie, not mommy." Tess's cheeks flushed a bright pink. "Sorry, Auntie," she murmured. "No worries, darling. I don't think anyone heard you," her mother reassured her. "It's time to say goodnight. Go find the girls and say goodbye." "Do I have to?" Tess whined slightly. "Yes, sweetie. We all need our rest, tomorrow's hike isn't going to do itself." With a small laugh, Tess ran to the group to say her farewells. "Thank you all for being so nice," she said. "I really had a great time." "Let's stay in touch," Rose said, smiling. They exchanged phone numbers and social media info. Tess felt a warm glow inside. This was exciting. These were friends who only knew her as a girl. As she turned to leave, Kimmy stopped her. "Tess, it was so good to meet you," she said, leaning over to give her a quick hug. Tess froze for a heartbeat, then returned it. Kimmy smelled faintly of spring flowers and fresh air, a comforting, cheerful scent. "Hope I get to see you again soon," Kimmy added, and planted a quick kiss on Tess's cheek. Tess blushed, her heart racing, but she couldn't help smiling. This night, this whole adventure, had turned out even better than she could have imagined. The memory of last night made Tess flush. "I don't know why I did that, sorry," Kimmy murmured, fidgeting a little. Tess grinned. "Well, if you hadn't, I probably would have." They both laughed, the awkward moment vanishing as quickly as it had appeared. Later, that night, lying in her frilly nightgown, Tess thought about the party. Her mind replayed every detail, the swish of her dress, the soft bounce of her petticoats, the way her hair felt pinned just right, and, of course, Kimmy. Her cheeks tingled, and she sighed, heart fluttering. The next morning, Tess woke with a sense of excitement. Instead of changing right away, she brushed her hair carefully, slipped on her satin robe over her nightie, and padded downstairs. Her mother and grandma looked up from their morning coffee and smiled. "I know we're supposed to go hiking today," Tess said, "but I had so much fun last night, I want to stay as Tess until we leave. Can you braid my hair into a high ponytail? And can I borrow some of your hair accessories?" "Of course, sweetheart," her mother said warmly. "Mommy would love to do your hair. And I think I have an old Barbie t-shirt and some girl shorts you can wear too." Soon, Tess's hair was swept up into a perfect high ponytail, adorned with butterfly clips on either side. She twirled in the mirror, beaming. This was shaping up to be the best mother-daughter weekend ever. Suddenly, a knock sounded at the door. Who could that be? Grandma asked, going to answer it. Standing there was Kimmy, glowing in a sunny yellow sundress. Hi. I was hoping Tess was still here. I saw the car and guessed she'd be around. Come on in, Grandma said. She's in the living room. We were about to go hiking, but that can wait a moment. Tess's heart skipped a beat. Why was Kimmy here? What did she want? Kimmy's here. Grandma called. Girls, why don't you head up to Tess's room? It's her aunt's old room. You two can hang out there for a bit. The two girls hurried upstairs. Kimmy blurted out almost immediately, sorry I dropped by so suddenly. I just really enjoyed last night. Liz and Rose are nice, but, well, they aren't exactly sharp, you know? You're funny, smart, and I want to keep in touch. I mean, we exchanged info, but, she trailed off, looking shy. Tess studied her for a moment. Well, you are pretty, but your taste in music, yuck. Kimmy's face lit up with a wide grin. See what I mean? Funny. They giggled together as they reached Tess's room. Kimmy sat on the bed while Tess thought, wow, Grandma really opened the door for this. So, Tess said, want to look through my aunt's clothes? I really like this retro Barbie t-shirt, and I found some cute butterfly clips. They're adorable, Kimmy said, eyes sparkling. And that sounds like so much fun. The two girls began rummaging through the vintage clothes, laughing and sharing tips on which hair clips and outfits would look best. It felt like a secret little world just for them, and Tess couldn't stop smiling. For the next hour, Tess and Kimmy dove into Tess's mother's wardrobe. Most of the 80s dresses were fun but felt more like costumes than everyday wear. The t-shirts, skirts, shorts, sweaters, and tops, however, were perfect for modern tween style, just a little retro flair that made them feel special. As they sorted through outfits, they chatted about the party the night before, spinning stories of costumes, dances, and the little drama with Richard. Rose really likes Richard, Kimmy said with a teasing grin, glancing at Tess. But she's super shy. Tess raised an eyebrow. Aha, and you're helping her dodge him? Something like that, Kimmy laughed. Honestly, those two are a little boy crazy. I like boys too, but there's way more fun in talking to someone who actually gets you. She smiled warmly at Tess. Tess hesitated, then shrugged. I suppose boys are okay, but yuck. They're smelly and gross. She pinched her nose dramatically. Kimmy burst out laughing, and Tess couldn't help herself. Soon, they were both collapsing onto the bed in a fit of giggles. This is really nice, Kimmy said suddenly, her tone softer, more serious. What? Tess asked, puzzled by the shift. I have never really had a girlfriend before. Not as a boy, not as a girl. And I'm going to miss you when I go home. Tess blinked. Wait, what do you mean? Kimmy took a deep breath. I know you were Tristan. Grandma told me. Tess felt her stomach drop, heat rushing to her cheeks. The bed seemed to fall out from under her. What? How? When? About a week before you arrived, Kimmy explained. I stay here sometimes when my mom works, so we chat. Grandma mentioned you were coming, the Halloween plans, your dad. She told me the whole story and asked me to look after you at the party. I thought I'd see a boy in a dress, but when you showed up, all I saw was a really pretty girl. And we started having fun together. Tess's mind spun. What about Liv and Rose? Do they know Richard? No, they don't, Kimmy said firmly. And I would never tell anyone. I only know because Grandma told me. You are one of the sweetest, prettiest girls I've ever met, and that's all I think about. I wanted to tell you because I like you, and I didn't want any secrets between us. I'm sorry I didn't say it sooner. Kimmy's eyes welled up, and a few tears slipped down her cheeks. Tess slowly sat up and looked at her, really looked at her. The nervousness, the fear, it all melted away. What she saw was a friend. A kind, accepting friend who cared. "Please don't cry," Tess said softly. "I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at Grandma, maybe, but not at you. You were so sweet and didn't tell anyone. You didn't share my secret, and you accepted me as Tess." Kimmy sniffled, a small smile returning to her lips. I really like you, Tess." Tess grinned. "Last night was my first time out in public as Tess, and if you're smart, caring, and bad at music taste, you would totally think I was just a girl. I can fool anyone." Kimmy giggled, wiping at her eyes. The tears subsided, leaving only the warmth of the moment. Tess handed her a tissue, and Kimmy blew her nose in a way that made them both laugh. She tossed the crumpled tissue back at Tess, and the girls shared another grin. The weight of fear, embarrassment, and secrecy had lifted. For the first time, Tess felt completely seen, not as Tristan, not as a boy, just as herself. "I don't want it," Tess said quietly, shaking her head. "You really are such a girl," Kimmy said, her face lighting up with a grin. Without thinking, the two girls wrapped their arms around each other in a hug, holding tight. 10 Mississippi, Tess joked, and they both laughed. "Thanks for not being mad at me," Kimmy murmured. "Thanks for keeping my secret," Tess replied. From that moment on, Kimmy and Tess were inseparable. Every laugh, every giggle, every shared secret made the rest of Tess's stay the happiest she had ever experienced. On the drive home, Tess's mother glanced at Kimmy and smiled. "I'm so glad you two got along. She really is a lovely girl." "Yes," Tess said, her voice soft. "Really nice?" her mother pressed. "Well, I suppose going out in public as a girl won't be so scary anymore," Tess admitted, though a small cloud of sadness lingered. "What's the matter, sweetheart?" her mother asked. Grandma told Kimmy. "She told her I was Tristan." Her mother's eyes widened. "She did what?" "I was so mad at her," Tess said. "I told her how hard it's been for me, and now she's ruined it. Wait until I get home." "Hold on," Tess's mother said gently. "It's okay. Kimmy and I talked. She's fine with it. Even after learning I was a boy, she still sees me as Tess." Tess exhaled. "I know. It's just, at Grandma's, Kimmy was my friend, Tess's friend. Back home, I don't have any friends except online. No one to hang out with." Her mother reached over, taking her hand. "What if there was a way for Tess to meet other girls like you? A safe place, where you could have fun, make friends, and just be yourself?" Tess looked at her, eyes wide. "Really? Is that a thing, or are you just trying to make me feel better?" "It's real," her mother said with a smile. "It's called the Mother-Daughter Club. I reached out ahead of time, and they sent some information. When we get home, we can go through it together. And if you're interested, there's a new girl orientation next month. You'll meet other girls and get to know everything about it." Tess's heart lifted. "Thanks, Mommy. You always know how to make a girl feel better. I love you." Her mother gazed at her beautiful daughter and her son, all at once, and smiled softly. "I love you so much, Tess. So much, in all the ways you are and will be. That will never change." They settled into a warm, quiet silence, the kind that feels safe and full of love. Tess let herself sink into that feeling of hope. Once they got home and unpacked, Tess and her mother sat down with the pamphlet from the Mother-Daughter Club. In the corner was a bright, cheerful logo with the tagline, "Become the girl you want to be." Tess smiled, a small spark of excitement stirring in her chest. For the first time, the future felt full of possibilities. At the top of the pamphlet, the letters MDC were crowned with a delicate tiara. Tess studied it carefully. The brochure explained the purpose of the club, a safe, supportive space where boys could explore being the girls they wanted to be. It listed activities, membership details, and one important rule: everyone attending must be dressed as a girl. Tess grinned at that, imagining all the outfits and hairstyles she could try. Her mind began to race. Maybe more makeup, perhaps even earrings, though she wondered if those would hurt. She blinked and realized she'd drifted into daydreams. "Earth to Tess," her mother said gently. "Oh. Sorry, Mom. What did you ask? Which activities interest you?" Tess's eyes scanned the list eagerly. "I always love a party dress. And sundresses, of course. Oh, and a nighty-night sleepover, that sounds like so much fun. Hair braiding, doing nails, music, junk food, movies, let's do that." Her mother chuckled, shaking her head. "Hold on, Missy. First things first. You need to attend the new girl orientation before signing up for anything else. We have to make sure it's really a good fit for you." "I know I'll love it," Tess said confidently. "I can't wait to tell Kimmy." "Good," her mother said, smiling. "I'll book the orientation for next week. In the meantime, think about what you want to wear. The website suggests wearing an outfit that reflects the girl you want to be." "Not very helpful," Tess muttered, half to herself. Then she brightened. "Why don't we look online? I love sundresses and halters, maybe something will catch my eye." Her mother laughed. "Since it's your first visit, let's get you something new." "Oh, Mommy. I would love that." Thank you, thank you, thank you." Tess threw herself into her mother's arms. "And we can ask Kimmy for ideas too when you FaceTime tonight," her mother added. "Maybe we can even plan a mother-daughter shopping trip." "Really? That would be amazing," Tess said, bouncing with excitement. "I love being your daughter, Mom. This last week has been so much fun." Her mother's eyes misted over as she looked at her beautiful sun-turned daughter. "You really are so pretty, Tess." "It's getting late, sweetie," her mother said, gathering Tess's night things. "You need rest if we're going shopping tomorrow. Why don't you get ready for bed and then call Kimmy?" Tess nodded eagerly, pulling on her white nightie and climbing into bed. Once settled, she FaceTimed Kimmy and excitedly told her about the MDC and the upcoming shopping trip. "Pick something really pretty," Kimmy said, her voice cheerful. "You'd look great in a halter dress, maybe light blue or green. Something with trim would be perfect." "And what about your hair? Maybe a braid pulled back, it would look amazing with your style." They chatted for half an hour, sharing ideas and giggles, until Tess's mother called from downstairs, "Time for bed, girls." Half an hour later, her mother peeked in. Tess was curled under her blankets, looking peaceful and completely content. Smiling, she closed the door and immediately called her own mother. "Did you get home safely?" "How was Tess?" she asked. "Everything went wonderfully," her mother replied. "She really is a beautiful girl." "I know," Tess's mother said proudly. "But, how could you tell Kimmy about Tess? You nearly blew it." Her mother's voice was stern, but Tess just laughed. I know. Your loose lips could have sunk ships." And despite the slight scolding, Tess felt an overwhelming warmth, excited for all the adventures still ahead. Her mother offered a heartfelt apology, explaining everything and assuring Tess she had never meant to cause trouble. Tess, still a little annoyed, crossed her arms. "Well, Mom, there's the new girl orientation next week for the mother-daughter club I told you about. You can make it up to me by buying me a new dress tomorrow on our shopping trip. I'll let you know what it costs." Her mother grinned and immediately agreed, adding that she'd cover shoes too. "Thanks, Mom," Tess said, still sounding a little pouty. "I'm still a little mad at you." Yes, we'll be coming up for Christmas," her mother added lightly. "We'll call after the shopping trip. Love you. Bye." The next morning, Tess woke up feeling cheerful and rested. She adored her 90s pajamas, the soft, silky fabric made her never want to go back to boys' PJs. Today was shopping day, and she could hardly contain her excitement. What should I wear, she wondered, flitting to her closet. So many dresses. The November weather in the south was unusually warm, so she settled on a simple blue sundress covered in pink and green flowers. The 100% cotton fabric felt light and comfortable against her skin. If only other boys knew how nice sundresses were, they'd want to wear them too, she thought with a grin. Quickly, she put on a pair of panties, slipped out of her nightie, and changed into her sundress. For her hair, she wanted something practical, since she'd be trying on lots of clothes, so she braided her hair into 2 playful pigtails. Standing in front of the mirror, she struck a pose. "Oh yes, who's a pretty girl today?" she whispered, spinning around. "Tess, whose mommy is buying her a new dress." The dress flared with her twirls, and she giggled so hard she fell backward onto her bed. A quick selfie later, she texted Kimmy, #TessDress. Kimmy replied instantly with a string of emojis and #nudistdress #cutpiggies. Next came shoes. Tess settled on a pair of white daisy fabric platform sandals. Perfect. Fully dressed, she rushed downstairs, practically bouncing with excitement. In the kitchen, she found her mother already enjoying her morning coffee. "Hi, sweetheart," her mother greeted, smiling warmly. "Don't you look lovely? Something special today I should know about?" Tess giggled. "Haha, Mom, this girl is ready to go buy a new dress. Can we leave already?" Her mother chuckled. "After breakfast, of course. Girls need their energy before a big shopping trip. I was thinking we could hit Waterfall Mall, it has some fantastic stores for your age. Did you see anything online you liked? And what about Kimmy, any ideas?" Kimmy suggested a halter dress, Tess said thoughtfully. "Online stores like Janden, Beachcomber, and Eternal Girl have so many cute outfits, and they're all at Waterfall." "Perfect," her mother replied. "But first, a bowl of cereal. The mall opens at 9, and it should take us about 30 minutes to get there." "Don't forget your purse," her mother added, handing her a small bag. "I put in some lip gloss, tissues, cash for you to spend, a tiny brush, and a hair tie. Looks like you've got the hair situation covered already." "Nope, I'm ready to go," Tess said, bouncing on her toes. "Good job with the pigtails," her mother said, smiling. "And remember, Grandma's paying for your dress, and some shoes too." Tess beamed. Today was going to be the best mother-daughter shopping trip ever. Tess slung her new purse over her shoulder, a dusty pink crossbody with tiny cat ears and whiskers. She had spotted it online weeks ago and gushed about it to her mother, who had promptly bought it for her birthday. Tess loved it, but at the moment, the purse was barely registering. She was far too busy attempting to set a personal record for cereal consumption, practically vibrating with excitement. Her very first mother-daughter shopping trip, it could not start soon enough. 45 minutes later, they pulled into the mall parking lot. It was quiet for now, but Tess knew the crowds would swell fast. As they strolled toward Janden, she couldn't help but observe the other girls her age. She noticed hairstyles, jewelry, how accessories were coordinated, and even the way they walked and talked. After months of chatting with Kimmy online, Tess had a solid idea of the social rhythms of girls her age. Boys were rare, scattered, and often oblivious. But girls, they moved with purpose. They floated in and out of clothing stores, trinket kiosks, makeup counters, and department store floors brimming with everything a young girl might dream of owning: backpacks, shoes, pajamas, stationery, hair clips, and so much more. The mall felt like a miniature kingdom, and the girls were the undisputed rulers. Janden was fun to browse, but the dresses they tried on didn't quite hit the mark. Tess and her mother giggled, tried different angles in the mirrors, and gave each other honest opinions, but nothing felt perfect. Next stop was Beachcomber, a store that catered to tweens and young teens with a slightly higher-end selection. According to Kimmy, it had a wide variety of dresses, and sure enough, Tess's eyes lit up the moment she spotted one. It was a pale blue halter dress, trimmed in delicate lace. The fit was perfect, and it made her feel cute and confident, but she wasn't ready to settle. Shopping was part of the adventure, after all. Girls do this all the time, Tess thought with a grin. I get it now. Her mother smiled. We can purchase it now and keep looking. If you find something even better, we can always return this one. But honestly, the lace is gorgeous, and the blue is perfect with your complexion. Tess loved that plan. As they explored Beachcomber, she also spotted some shoes. Her mother suggested a classic pump for the dressier halter, while Tess remembered Kimmy's recommendation for sandals. We'll decide on shoes after we finalize the dress, her mother said, and Tess agreed, happily holding up a sparkly silver pump with rhinestone straps. Oh, they're cute, she said, but yes, the dress comes first. Before leaving the store, Tess piped up, "Hey Mom, can we stop by Chloe's? I want to look for a necklace and maybe a bracelet to match the dress." Her mother smiled knowingly. A necklace sounds perfect. I even have a bracelet from when I was your age, you can wear it if you like. Tess felt a warm surge of happiness. Really? Something you wore as a little girl? Of course, baby, her mother said. There was something unspoken in that smile, a shared understanding of memories and girlhood passed down. Tess's stomach growled loudly. Hey, Mom. I'm hungry. Let's grab something to eat first. Then we can hunt for necklaces. She had just polished off her breakfast cereal, but now she realized one bowl was nowhere near enough. Tacos sounded perfect. After lunch, Tess and her mother strolled into Chloe's, a bright boutique full of sparkling accessories and dainty jewelry. Tess immediately spotted a delicate heart pendant and her eyes lit up. Mom, I was thinking of getting a heart necklace, like Kimmy's. I really like hers. What color do you think would be best? Tess's mother smiled. Silver, sweetie. That way, it will match almost anything in your wardrobe. She also made a mental note, the bracelet waiting for Tess at home would complete the set. They wandered through the displays, and though there were plenty of options, many seemed flimsy or cheaply made. Finally, Tess squealed, "Oh. I like this one. Can I try it?" It was a petite heart pendant, a twinkling open diamond design in sterling silver with 14K yellow gold accents. It was a bit pricier than her mother had planned, but she barely hesitated. What the heck, she thought. Today has been one of the best days in over a year. I want Tess to remember this feeling every time she wears it. Of course, sweetheart, she said, and the sales assistant handed the necklace to Tess. With her mother's help, she clasped it around her neck. Wow, Tess beamed, it's even prettier than Kimmy's. Her mother chuckled at the excitement, and at the subtle pride that came from being called your daughter by the sales assistant. Then the assistant added, have you thought about getting her ears pierced? We can do it right here in just a few minutes. Tess's mother caught the flicker of nervous anticipation on her daughter's face. Not today, sweetie, she said gently. Let's just enjoy the necklace for now. Oh, Mom, I really love it, Tess said, her eyes sparkling. I'll take really good care of it. Her mother gave her the classic tween eye roll and exasperated sigh, perfectly timed. Of course, Mom, Tess added, with the look and tone that said, I'm not a baby. Can I wear it now? Tess asked eagerly. Why not, her mother replied, smiling. The rest of the day flew by in laughter, chatter, and twirling. They tried on more outfits, commented on each other's choices, and sampled accessories at every corner. At Eternal Girl, Tess found another dress she adored, and they decided to take both dresses home for a side-by-side comparison. The silver pumps from Beachcomber came along, as did a playful pair of sandals. Back at home, they unpacked their treasures. Tess hung her new dresses carefully in her closet and held up the sandals. I think I'll keep these, Mom. They're fun. And the pumps are a little fancy, but still nice. Excellent choice, her mother said. Comfortable and stylish. Wait. The bracelet. Tess exclaimed. Her mother disappeared into her bedroom and returned a few minutes later with a small box. She opened it to reveal a sterling silver charm bracelet adorned with tiny, puffy animals. "This was my mother's gift to me when I was your age," she said softly, her voice tinged with emotion. "Now I want you to have it." Tess gasped. "Oh, Mom, it's beautiful. I love the little animals, they'll go perfectly with my blue dress and heart necklace." Her mother smiled, teary-eyed. "So, have you decided?" "Yes," Tess said, hugging her new treasures. "I'm keeping the light blue dress. I just kept shopping because it's so much fun. The lace trim, the color, it's perfect for me." Her mother grinned. "And with those sandals, the necklace, and bracelet, you will be the most beautiful girl there even without makeup." Tess twirled in delight, imagining herself in her new outfit. This day, she realized, was more than just shopping, it was a memory she would treasure forever. Tess beamed at her mother's compliment and returned the gesture with what had become a familiar, heartfelt hug, a sweet ritual between them these days. Later that evening, Tess shared every detail of her first mother-daughter shopping adventure with Kimmy over FaceTime. She gushed about the dresses, admired the shoes, envied the sparkling necklace, and squealed over the charm bracelet. "It was amazing. I can't wait to do it again," Tess said, practically bouncing in her chair. "Me too," Kimmy replied. "When you visit your grandma for Christmas, we can hit the post-holiday sales together. I've been hoping to get some new things." So went the evening, two friends, laughing and chatting over the phone, planning their next shopping trip, sharing ideas, and teasing each other. For Tess, Kimmy was now the only other person besides her mother who truly understood and shared in her girl time, and that mattered more than anything. Tess giggled suddenly, and Kimmy's voice chimed, "What's so funny? Do I have something in my teeth?" "Nope," Tess replied, still laughing. "Just thought of something silly." She paused, then added earnestly, "Thank you. I love you, Kimmy. You're my best friend, and I couldn't do this without you." Without hesitation, Kimmy said, "I love you too, Tess. And yes, you could do it alone, but it makes me really happy that you trust me enough to share this part of yourself. That means a lot." They paused for a moment, smiling at each other through the screens. Then Kimmy added, "Okay, I really have to go. My 15 minutes were over 30 minutes ago." "Me too," Tess said, making a silly cross-eyed face. "Sleep tight, crazy." "You too, goofball," Kimmy replied, copying the expression. With a shared laugh, they blew each other a kiss and hung up. 10 seconds later, Tess's phone pinged again, 3 hearts from Kimmy. The next morning, Tess awoke to face school as Tristan once more. A tiny black cloud hovered over her mood. She reluctantly peeled off her nightie and slipped into her school uniform, white shirt and gray pants, her one concession to modesty being a pair of panties. Normally, she wore a low ponytail, but today she felt a spark of defiance and twisted her hair into a half-up, half-down style. Even so, she thought, I still look cute. Breakfast was quiet, her mother wasn't yet downstairs. Tess nibbled her cereal while her mind raced with thoughts of tomorrow's MDC orientation. The event ran from 6 to 8 p.m., and she couldn't help but wonder, who would be there? Would anyone judge her? Would the other girls like her? The questions circled like socks in a dryer, tangling in her head. Her mother appeared, smiling warmly. "Morning, sweetheart." Tess replied defiantly, "Yes, I'm wearing my panties. And yes, I hate these boring clothes." "Don't worry, sweetie," her mother said gently. "You can change as soon as you get home." "I know, Mom, it just sucks. I want to wear my dresses," Tess pouted. Her mother met her eyes with understanding. "Well, the orientation is tomorrow night. That will be fun." Tess's face brightened. "I'm so excited. And I have all these questions," she began, launching into the mental list she'd been rehearsing all morning. Her mother held up a hand. "Hold on, little miss. All will be revealed tomorrow. Right now, it's time for school. Brushing her teeth, washing her hands, and grabbing her bag, Tess, or Tristan, headed out the door. School was uneventful, a blur of questions about Halloween and the fall break, which he answered with rehearsed zombie and grandma's house lines. At lunchtime, Tristan sought refuge on a quiet bench outside the cafeteria. Soon, a familiar voice interrupted his solitude. "Hi," Jenny said, a classmate he'd barely spoken to all year. "Hi," Tristan replied cautiously. "Why are you sitting out here?" she asked. "Just needed some space," he muttered. "Can I join you?" "Sure," he said, still unsure what to expect. "How was your holiday break?" Jenny asked. "Visited Grandma," Tristan replied tersely. "And you?" "I went as a zombie ballerina for Halloween," she said, pulling out her phone. "Want to see pictures?" Tristan's first thought, she stole my idea. Yet as he looked at the images, he had to admit they were impressive. "Wow, they look really good," he said honestly. "My mom did the makeup," Jenny explained. "I loved the fake blood." "And your costume?" Tristan asked. "Zombie," she said with a grin. "I have more pictures if you want to see." Tristan nodded, trying to hide his excitement. It was strange, seeing Halloween through someone else's eyes, and realizing maybe, just maybe, sharing this little world of costumes and fun didn't have to be so complicated. "Mom has some pictures on her phone," Tristan said, "but they're nothing compared to yours. Your zombie ballerina is amazing." Jenny smiled at the compliment, then a quiet pause hung between them. "Are you okay?" she asked carefully. "Yeah, why?" Tristan replied, a little confused. "I just saw you sitting here and wanted to make sure you were all right." "You're always nice to me," she said softly. "Some of the other kids can be mean. And losing your dad, well, I know that's hard." "Thanks," Tristan said quietly. "Try not to let them get to you. Most kids are just, well, stupid. It's annoying, but don't let it bother you." He gave her a small smile. Jenny smiled back. "You're funny. I like talking to you." "Oh, that's the bell. I've got music on the other side of the school. See you later." "See you," Tristan called after her, thinking, well, that was different. That afternoon, he changed into his sundress, braiding his hair and adding a bit of eyeshadow, lip gloss, and a big bow for fun. He was determined to be as girly as possible. "Nice outfit, honey," his mother said, noticing the bow. "That's a cute touch." "Thanks, Tristan, now Tess, replied, slipping into their familiar mother-daughter rhythm. "Well," her mother said with a knowing smile, "tomorrow you can stay home from school and relax." "I'm working from home anyway." Tess brightened. "Thanks, Mom. Today was such a drag. At least I can catch up on homework online." The next morning, Tess lingered in her nightie, her hair pulled up into a messy bun, held with a tiny flower barrette. She considered texting Kimmy, but knew her school's strict phone rules made that impossible during the day. Around 4 o'clock, she decided it was time to get ready. A quick shower, a thorough wash and condition of her hair, and she towel-dried it before blow-drying. She carefully styled it into a space bun braid she'd seen online, then admired herself in the mirror. "Oh wow, cute with a capital C," she whispered. She slipped on her heart pendant, light blue panties, a slip, and her petticoat. Earlier, she had painted her fingernails and toenails in soft pink, and now she admired her handiwork. "Nice job," she said to herself. Next, she lifted the dress from the hanger and slipped it over her head. "Mom, can you help zip me up?" she called. "Of course, baby," her mother replied, entering her room almost immediately. Within seconds, she was behind Tess, zipping up the dress. Tess smoothed the skirt and gazed in the mirror. She felt radiant, so pretty. "Just beautiful," her mother murmured over her shoulder. "Absolutely beautiful." "Thanks, Mom." "I have to agree," Tess said, slipping into her sandals and grabbing her cat-shaped purse. It was now 5:15, and the orientation location was about 30 minutes away. "Let's go, sweetie. We need to leave or we'll be late," her mother said gently. "Are you nervous?" her mother asked. "A bit," Tess admitted, her cheeks tinged with pink, but mostly excited. "I want to text Kimmy a picture, can you take it?" "Of course," her mom said, waiting patiently as Tess adjusted her sandals, straightened her dress, and gave herself a final check in the mirror. Her mother snapped a few photos. "OMG, you look amazing." "I'm so lucky," she said, beaming, before handing the phone to Tess. She quickly texted Kimmy, "Wish me luck, crazy." Almost instantly, Kimmy replied, "Good luck, crazy. Love you." Just before 6, they pulled up to the estate. House didn't quite capture it. This was more like a small castle, with high walls surrounding perfectly manicured grounds. Tess took a deep breath, gripping her purse. This was it. Her first MDC orientation. Her first real night out as Tess. She was nervous, thrilled, and ready. Tess's mom guided the car up to the estate's front gate and pressed the intercom button. A friendly, professional voice came through. "Name and reference number, please." Tess's mom gave the names, just the girls' names, of course, and the reference number from their orientation confirmation. "Thank you," the voice replied, and moments later, the gates slowly swung open. They drove along a gravel driveway lined with flowering shrubs and parked in the visitors section. Tess leaned over to check her reflection in the side mirror. "Come on, Tass, you're going to fuss forever," her mom teased with a smirk. "I'm fine." Tess shot back, sticking her tongue out playfully. At the entrance, just as they were about to knock, the door opened. A woman in a floral dress, her hair styled in a perfect updo, smiled warmly. "Welcome. I'm Cynthia Nichols, and I'll be hosting the orientation tonight. Here's a brochure for you. Please join the other mothers and daughters in the living room, second door on the right. We still have about 10 minutes before we start. If you need to freshen up, the powder room is one door down to the left." "Thank you," Tess said politely. "Mom, I need to pee," Tess whispered. "Do you want me to come with you?" her mom asked. "No, thanks. I think I can handle it," Tess replied, heading toward the powder room. Her mom smiled, ignoring the edge of sarcasm, and said, "I'll find us some seats." As Tess passed the living room, she caught a quick glimpse of the scene, about 20 women and girls, all in feminine attire, party dresses, tutus, sundresses, cheerleader outfits, and even at least one school uniform. It was a colorful, bustling tableau, and Tess's heart fluttered with anticipation. The powder room was spacious and luxurious, with soft chairs, multiple vanities, and a few large stalls. The air smelled faintly of cinnamon and citrus. Tess chose a stall, lifted her dress, and settled in nervously. The quiet was broken when the door opened and two voices chimed in together. "Oh my gosh, Sarah, this place is huge. They must have so much money." "You're not kidding, sis." "I love it when you call me that," the other voice replied, giggling. The sound of running water followed. "Hello? Is anyone in here?" one of the voices asked, and Tess responded softly, "Just me." She finished quickly and stepped out to wash her hands at one of the vanities. Two girls stood nearby, about 8 or 9 years old, with matching blonde auburn hair tied in high pigtails. They wore identical white t-shirts, mini skirts, and tiny backpacks. "Hi," Tess said, smiling. "Hi. I'm Sarah, and this is Emily." "We're sisters," Sarah said, exchanging a giggle with her sister. "That must be nice," Tess said, feeling a twinge of envy. "I don't have any siblings, just my best friend, Kimmy." Emily tilted her head and grinned. "We have brothers too." "Don't say that," snapped Sarah. "Today we're sisters," Emily shot back, her voice a little hurt at her sister's retort. "Well, most days you are sisters," Sarah replied, softening. Emily huffed, but a small smile crept onto her face. Just wanted to be honest, she said quietly. Tess smiled at the exchange. From where I'm sitting, you're both really pretty. I'd love to have sisters like you. Both girls blushed and giggled, clearly embarrassed. Tess thought they were utterly adorable. Well, we better get back, she said. The meeting is about to start. You're very pretty, too, Emily, or was it Sarah, added hesitantly. Tess felt a rush of nervous excitement. I'm a boy who loves dressing as a girl. I'd do it all the time if school didn't get in the way. I love doing my hair, wearing makeup, and the clothes are so much nicer than boy clothes, she confessed, realizing she might have overshared. Emily nodded. I like dressing as both, too. Me too, the other sister added. Our parents took us to Disney on a girls' trip once. We were both princesses. It was so much fun. Come on, sis, and new friend Tess, we have to go, said one of them, and together the three girls left the powder room, heading toward the living room. By the time they arrived, the meeting was just beginning. There were 13 new girls, including Tess, all accompanied by their mothers and a few sisters. They ranged from a tiny 5-year-old ballerina in a tutu, whose mother was dressed similarly, to a 13-year-old with pigtails and a dress, whose chest was flat and shoulders broader but whose smile radiated pure happiness. Among the group were cheerleaders aged 6 and 12, both practically bouncing with excitement. A 12-year-old with long blonde hair caught Tess's eye. She reminded her a little of Kimmy. Another girl, 12, wore a mid-length blue dress with puffy sleeves and long braids, which Tess admired immensely. 3 girls, ages 5 to 7, sparkled in party dresses and tiaras. Tess made a mental note to find a similar outfit for her next visit. Twins giggled nervously at the back, stealing glances at each other, while a petite blonde in a pink satin dress clung tightly to her mother, looking shy. Her older stepsister, dark-haired and tall, seemed amused by the entire event. Welcome, ladies and girls, Cynthia Nichols said, stepping forward with a warm smile. The twins giggled again, and their mother leaned over to shush them. My name is Cynthia Nichols, and I run this chapter of the Mother-Daughter Club, she began. You're all here to explore and become the girl you want to be, and we're here to support and guide you along the way. Applause rippled through the room, though a bit of noise arose from the back. Tess turned to see 2 girls with long dark hair entering, the younger in pigtails, carefully taking seats on the other side. Apologies for the delay, their mother said. Traffic. Cynthia continued, her smile broadening. You girls are a beautiful group. And remember, the girl you want to be can mean different things for different people. For some, it's enjoying girl time, perhaps with a mother, sister, or friend from the MDC. For others, it may be a lifestyle choice or even a lifelong journey. For us, it doesn't matter who you are, everyone is welcome here, Cynthia continued. Polite applause rippled through the room, accompanied by nods and smiles. The twins had finally stopped giggling and were whispering to each other, though their mother leaned over to shush them again. Tess smiled, feeling more at ease. I also want to welcome the mothers and sisters who support you, Cynthia added. Having family involved and accepting you makes a huge difference, and the MDC is here to support them too. She paused, letting her words sink in. Since this is your first time, we'll be breaking the new girls into smaller groups. A few of our long-term members, current and recent graduates, will guide you through what the club is all about. Sisters, you're welcome to stay with your siblings, but mothers, we'd like you to remain here for the next half hour. Don't worry, your girls will be in excellent hands. As if on cue, a striking teenager with a flowing blue dress and a messy bun stood gracefully. Her athletic figure and confident smile immediately drew attention. Hi, everyone. I'm Christine, but you can call me Chrissy. I'm 17 and have been part of the MDC for 10 years. I'll be leading Group A. The girls in the room warmed to her instantly. Now, could the following girls join me, please? Chrissy called out. Tanya, a 13-year-old in pigtails and a dress, Kim, our older cheerleader, Andrea, a schoolgirl, Coco, 12, with long braids, Tess. Tess jumped slightly at the sound of her name, and her mother placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "That's you, sweetie," she whispered. Tess straightened her dress, took a deep breath, and walked to join the group, offering a small smile to the other girls. She was delighted to see Emily and Sarah, the sisters she had met in the bathroom, were in her group. And now, Group B, or as we like to call it, BB for Beautiful, will be led by Brittany, Chrissy continued. A tall, slender teenager with dark hair stepped forward. She and Chrissy exchanged a warm hug. Tess would later learn they were more than friends. Brittany, just 18 and graduating from the MDC, called out the names of the younger girls, some of whom were accompanied by their sisters. Squatting down to be at eye level with the children, Brittany complimented each one, saying how beautiful they looked and how excited she was to get to know them. Her ease and warmth made her seem like a natural leader, as if this were second nature. Chrissy guided her group into an adjoining room, where chairs and couches were arranged in a circle. At the back were 3 vanities stocked with hair accessories and makeup. "Take a seat anywhere, girls," Chrissy said kindly. Most of the girls sat carefully, gathering their skirts and keeping their knees together, following the posture their mothers had taught them. Even the twins mirrored this. Tanya, however, plopped onto the couch, legs apart. Chrissy smiled gently. "You may want to practice keeping your knees together. It always looks more feminine. Don't worry, you'll get it with time." Blushing, Tanya admitted, "I've always loved girls' clothes, but only recently did I gather the courage to ask my mom if I could wear them. She was great, but I'm still learning." "And that's exactly why we're here," Chrissy reassured them. "You're all beautiful. With a little practice as posture, age-appropriate breast forms, makeup, you can truly shine and feel confident." She paused and smiled at each girl. "Now, I'd love for each of you to share why you joined the MDC and why you enjoyed dressing as a girl, or why you're exploring this side of yourself. Take a moment to think, and we'll start with Tanya." Chrissy continued, sharing her own story. "I started dressing as a girl when I was 7. I saw a ballet performance with my mom and begged her to let me take ballet. The class was for girls only. The rules said all students had to have their hair tied back with ribbons, so everyone looked the same. I hesitated, worried about teasing, but I wanted to try it so badly. My mom helped me put my hair back that first time, and I fell in love. My favorite style was pigtails. They tickled my ears when I flicked my head back and forth. After that, I started wearing girls' clothes more often. A year later, I joined the MDC, wanting to meet other girls like me, and I did. I became close friends with Brittany, who you met tonight. Since then, I've made so many friends and had so many opportunities to just be myself." Tess listened, fascinated. "When I was 9, I told my mom I wanted to be a real girl, not just dress as one. We spoke to doctors and specialists, and I started hormone treatment to help my body become more feminine. Next year, I'll have surgery to become my true self." Sarah's eyes widened. "Will it hurt?" "There will be some discomfort after surgery," Chrissy replied calmly. "But I'll have medicine for the pain and time to recover. And it will all be worth it to live as the person I've always wanted to be." Tess felt a mixture of awe and excitement. She knew tonight was going to be the start of something very special. "But I really want to do it," Chrissy added softly, "so I can handle a little pain if that's what it takes." The group fell silent for a moment. Chrissy grinned, breaking the tension. "Well, I guess my story dampened the mood a little," she said, then turned to the twin who had asked the question earlier. "Why don't you go next?" "Sure," said Sarah, adjusting her dress nervously. "I'm Sarah, and this is my sister, Emily. We're almost 10, and we've got 3 older sisters who've been dressing us up in their girl clothes since we were tiny." "Not tiny," Emily interrupted, pouting. "More like 4. "Excuse me?" Sarah shot back. "I remember being 2. Chrissy chuckled. "Girls, it doesn't matter. Let's just agree you were young, and move on. Well, our parents were okay with it, Sarah continued. We were quieter when we dressed as girls, so it worked out. Eventually, we started dressing ourselves and having special sister days. We'd do each other's hair and play with our sisters' girl toys. It was so much fun. We love being sisters. Emily added, but we still like our brother time too. About 2 months ago, Sarah went on, Emily found the MDC online. The idea of meeting more girls like us sounded amazing, so we asked Mom if we could join. And here we are. We like dressing as girls, but we don't want to actually become girls. Is that okay? Absolutely, Chrissy replied. Many girls at the club feel the same. My friend Brittany is like that too. Sarah's eyes sparkled. But she's so beautiful as a girl. She really is, Chrissy agreed. And she may dress as a girl forever, but she chooses to stay a boy. That's the great thing about the MDC, we support every version of who you want to be. The room was quiet, everyone listening intently. The MDC's motto, helping you be the girl you want to be, truly meant different things to different girls. Who's next? Chrissy asked. Andrea, a schoolgirl with long braids, raised her hand. I'm Andrea, she said softly. I've always wanted to be a girl. Ever since I can remember, I loved wearing dresses. My parents are part of a religious group that believes hair gives you strength, like Samson, so keeping it long has never been an issue. You have beautiful hair, Chrissy said warmly. Thank you, Andrea replied. But my parents don't like me wearing girls' clothes, so I have to sneak my older sister's hand-me-downs. She's 7 years older, and she knows I want to dress as a girl, so she helps by buying me underwear and other essentials. Sounds like you've got a great ally, Chrissy said. I do, Andrea continued. Finding time to dress is tricky because I have to wait until my parents are away. Last year, my sister turned 18 and told me about the club. She's watching out for me while my parents are on a 6-month missionary trip. I've been able to dress as a girl every day except for school, and it's amazing. I love schoolgirl uniforms, cheer outfits, dance costumes, everything. Being here makes me so happy. You all look so pretty. Someday I hope you get the chance to fully be the girl you want to be, Chrissy said, giving Andrea a warm hug. Thank you for sharing. Kim raised her hand next. Hi, I'm Kimberly, but everyone calls me Kim. I'm 13. I've been dressing as a girl since I was 9. I have a twin sister, Jenny, who couldn't come tonight, but she'll join me next time. We've done everything together since we were little, but when she turned 9, she joined a cheer squad. We had both been in gymnastics, but after Dad passed away, there was no gym nearby. Cheerleading was an option, but they didn't allow boys. Still, I went to all her practices and copied what she did. About 3 weeks after her first uniform arrived, I was upset, Kim continued. It felt unfair. Jenny noticed and asked if I wanted to try on one of her uniforms. I hesitated at first, but she's my sister, so I said yes. Panties, slip, socks, sneakers, the whole outfit. She even did my hair in pigtails with cute clips. I felt so pretty, and it was amazing. Sarah whispered to Emily, I love that. Cheer uniforms make you feel so girly. I know, right? Kim said. After that, we'd practice together often, sometimes in uniforms, sometimes in leggings or tights, always her clothes. I started growing my hair out, and eventually Mom noticed. I told her everything, and she's been incredible. Now I can dress as a girl whenever I want. Emily added, we even went on a trip as sisters and daughters, it was like Disneyland Princess Heaven. Tess watched the twins giggle and Kim smile, feeling a warm glow of excitement. This was exactly why the MDC existed, a space where everyone could explore, express, and embrace the girl they wanted to be. If enthusiasm had a picture, it would be the twins. Tess found herself liking them more and more with every story. Well, Kim began, her eyes sparkling, I came back from a trip with bikini tan lines and loved every minute of it. Being a girl with Jenny and Mom was amazing. When I was 10, one of the cheer squad girls broke her leg, so I stepped in, dressed fully as a girl cheerleader. The other girls were so thankful, and afterward, we ended up at Kylie's for a pizza party and a sleepover. They treated me like I really belonged. That night, I wore my sister's PJs, we braided hair, did makeup, gossiped, and watched a scary movie. Can't remember the title, something with a TV and a ghost coming out of it? The Ring? Andrea chimed in. My sister loves that one. Kim nodded. Yes, that's it. But enough about movies. I plan to join the cheer squad next year when I'm 14, as a boy. Though if needed, I could always throw on a girl's cheer uniform and shake some pom-poms. I'll stay a boy, but I'm never giving up my sister girl time. Thank you, Kim, Chrissy said warmly. It sounds wonderful to have that sister girl time, and your mom sounds amazing. Sorry about your dad. Kim shrugged lightly, her smile tinged with a hint of sadness. It was a long time ago, and I've moved on. Tess felt her turn had come. She took a deep breath and shared her story, her mom's support, her Halloween experiences, and all the girl time adventures with Kimmy. Kimmy sounds like an incredible friend, Chrissy said kindly. Too bad she doesn't live closer. You've clearly put a lot of thought into your hair and makeup. It's fantastic. Your outfit, your hair, it's all wonderful. Once we finish, would you like to show the other girls one of your favorite hairstyles? Tess's face lit up. If they're okay with it, I'd love to. Yes, please, came a chorus of eager voices. Next was Coco's turn. Hi, she began, her accent hinting at her origins. Tess guessed French, and indeed Coco continued, I'm from just outside Paris. Like Andrea, I've always enjoyed dressing as a girl. My father left before I was born, so I never really knew him. When I was young, I joined a local theater group and would often volunteer for the girls' roles just to dress up. At the time, it wasn't considered strange, and I met 2 other boys who also loved dressing as girls. We became close friends and often spent our afternoons at each other's houses, enjoying girl time together. My mother adored that I liked dressing up and would help me pick out outfits, Coco said, smiling. I loved it. And like Andrea and Chrissy, I want to fully become a girl. I've even started hormone treatments. She paused, a wistful look crossing her face. We moved to the States for my mom's work, and I was sad to leave my friends behind. Finding this club online was a miracle, we were so happy to discover it. There's actually a chapter in Paris, but I never knew about it at the time. I adore makeup and hairstyling and even run a blog called Coco's Seahorses. Seahorses can change sex, boys and girls, so the name felt perfect. On the blog, I share what it's like being a girly boy in France. We call it Travism or TV for short, just like here. If Tess is doing hair, I can share some makeup tips, a girl piped up. Yes. Yes. Please, came the enthusiastic chorus from the group, Tess included. Thank you, Chrissy said, beaming. That would be wonderful. And thank you all for being so open with your stories. It's heartwarming to see so many of you have family who support your girl time. Here, you can truly become the girl you want to be, and you'll hear that phrase a lot tonight. She stood and handed out small calendars. These are our MDC event calendars for the year. While our weekly get-togethers are fun, the events are what really make this club special. We'll also email this to you, and it's always available on our website. Chrissy's eyes twinkled. And the next event is one of my personal favorites, the 90s sleepover, or as we like to call it, Naughty Nights. The girls giggled at the name. It's the first weekend in December. If you want to attend, register online, and we'll send you an official invitation. It's hugely popular, so if you want specific friends to be in your mini sorority, make sure to mention them when you sign up. She continued, each sleepover sorority is capped at 8 girls of similar ages. A big sister, like Brittany or me, will guide each group. Every mini sorority gets its own room, though there might be friendly competitions with another room. Sisters are welcome too, but they count toward the 8. Any questions? She asked. What do we need to bring? Kim asked. Great question, Chrissy replied. Nightie only, no PJs. You can bring a robe, a sleeping bag, toiletries, and a change of clothes for the morning, something comfy but cute. There's a recommended list on the website. Angela raised her hand. And what actually happens at the sleepover? Food, of course, Chrissy said with a laugh. But each sorority decides the menu. We provide makeup and hair accessories, so girls braid hair, try makeup, and just enjoy themselves, just like your sleepovers at home, Kim. But you supply the gossip. The girls laughed. We also play games, Twister, charades, pin the crown on the pageant winner. My favorites are Never Have I Ever and Would You Rather. You can check the full list online under Sleepover Games. We provide instructions for everything so every sorority knows what to do. And later, we snuggle into sleeping bags with popcorn. Older girls might watch a scary movie, younger girls get something age-appropriate. I just love these nights, purely girly fun. The girls began whispering excitedly to one another. Tess turned to Emily and Sarah. Hey, do you girls want to be part of my sorority? She asked. We'd love that, they said in unison. Great. We have to sign up as soon as we get home so we don't forget, Tess added. Also, do you have phone numbers? So we can text and stay in touch? Emily hesitated. We do, but we have to ask Mom first before giving it out. Or was it Sarah? Tess giggled. You need name tags or something. I can't tell you apart. It happens all the time, Emily said with a smile. It's simple really, I'm the pretty one, and Sarah's the smart one. No, the other way around. Sarah corrected, and the twins burst into another round of giggles. Tess couldn't help but grin. Okay, here's my number, she said, sharing it with them. Text me if your mom says it's okay, Emily said. Will do, Tess replied, grinning. All right, everyone, Chrissy interrupted, smiling as she clapped her hands to gather attention. I promised some hair and makeup tips tonight. Tess, would you like to kick things off? Absolutely. I'd love to, Tess said eagerly. Chrissy gestured toward the back of the room. There are 3 vanities back there. Tess will show you some hair techniques first, then you can practice on each other. After that, Coco will guide you through some makeup tips. Tess moved to one of the vanities. I need a model, she announced. Andrea's hand shot up instantly. I'd love to be your model. My older sister helps me sometimes, but she's hopeless with hair. I'd really appreciate anything you can teach me, Andrea said. With that, Tess demonstrated a French braid step by step. The other girls paired off and practiced, some catching on quickly, others, like Tanya and the twins, struggling a little, but no one minded. This wasn't about perfection, it was about sharing their girl time, learning from one another, and simply having fun. Tess was thrilled. About halfway through, Claire, Andrea's older sister, walked in quietly. The moms are chatting, she said, so I thought I'd see what you girls are up to. Hair and makeup practice. Chrissy explained. You're very welcome to join us. After about 20 minutes of braids, twists, and ponytails, Chrissy called the girls together. Next, eyes. Fun eye looks you can use for costumes or special events, Coco explained, stepping forward. Emily volunteered as the model this time. I'm doing a unicorn eye, the pink, purple, and blue, with some mascara, Coco added, demonstrating each step and explaining the brushes she used. The girls watched intently. When she finished, Tess thought Emily's eyes looked magical. I have to show Kimmy this, she whispered to herself. Soon, the girls were practicing in pairs, experimenting on each other and themselves. Tess admired her own reflection, her eyes looked cute and playful. Tanya struggled a little but ended up with a surprisingly pretty look. Great job, everyone, Coco said warmly. You're welcome to stay a little longer to practice, chat, or join your moms. The meeting ends at 8, and the next session for the twins and early teens is Wednesday, June 8th. For those on the other side of the city, there's a smaller weekly meeting at a different location. Address is on the flyer and website. All major events are here at the main sorority house. Thank you for being such a lively, pretty group of girls. I can't wait to see you at our events. The girls applauded and showered her with thank yous. Some went forward to chat, but Tess hung back, taking a moment to absorb everything. She decided to find her mom but was stopped by Dara. Can I give you my number? Dara asked. I'd love to get together and try some more hairstyles. Claire said it's fine. I'd love that. Tess said. Your hair is gorgeous, you have so many styles you could try. The girls hugged, promising to text each other soon. Do you want to catch up with Kim and Coco before they leave? Dara asked. See you soon. With that, Dara went off. Tess turned and spotted her mother chatting with a couple of other women. How was it, sweetheart? Tell me everything, her mom asked. It was amazing, Mom. I'm so glad I joined. I've already made some new friends. And our mother-daughter time was wonderful too, but we'll talk about that on the way home, Tess said, wrapping her arms around her mom. Thank you, Mommy. I love you, she added softly, a few happy tears spilling down her cheeks. I love you too, my beautiful, wonderful girl, Tess's mom said, her eyes shining with pride. I wish we could stay like this forever, Tess whispered, snuggling closer. Tess's mom smiled softly, thinking, that's a conversation for another time. Just then, Sarah appeared, holding out her phone. I talked to my mom. Here's Emily's number and mine. Tess held out her phone, and the girls tapped theirs together, the numbers transferring instantly. We're thinking of hanging out soon. Maybe a girls' outing, Sarah said. Perfect. I need some winter clothes, Tess replied. Have you ever been to the Waterfall Mall? Tons of girl stores with cute clothes. Emily shook her head. We don't need to shop much because of our sisters, she said. You don't have to buy anything, it's just fun trying things on. They've got jewelry, makeup, even a theater. Maybe we could catch a movie while we're there, Tess suggested. We'll ask our moms and let you know, Emily said. I already talked to your mom earlier, Tess's mom said, smiling. We can figure out the details together. Thanks. Emily said, beaming. Just then, Cynthia's voice rang out, clear and commanding. Girls, mothers, no need to sit. I just want to thank you all for coming. Did everyone have a fun time? Yes, shouted the girls in unison. Will you come back? Cynthia asked. Yes, they all yelled again, though a few mothers laughed as the volume rose. Will you be good girls for your moms? She asked next. A quieter chorus of yes and maybe not followed, and Cynthia chuckled. I didn't think so, but we're still glad to have you here. Applause filled the room. See you next week. Good night, she added warmly. Time to go, Mom, Tess said, reluctantly. Time to go with baby, her mom replied, smiling. But I can't wait to come back. Also, can we sign up for the nighty-night sleepover? Tess asked eagerly. Of course, sweetie. We'll do it as soon as we get home, her mom promised. That night, lying in her favorite light blue nightie, Tess FaceTimed Kimmy. The call connected almost instantly. Who's that in the background? Kimmy asked, squinting. It's me, Tess, she said. Well, say hello for me. Kimmy's mom called from the doorway. Mom, go away. Kimmy said, giggling as she closed the door. No worries, Tess laughed. So, how was it? Absolutely amazing, Tess said, eyes sparkling. Even better than I imagined. She described the orientation, meeting the other girls, their stories, the house, the hair and makeup session, everything. I'm so jealous, Kimmy sighed. I wish I could have been there. Well, you could. Come stay for one of the events with me, Tess suggested. They have a nighty-night sleepover coming up, I'd love for you to come. I wish I could, but there's no way Mom would let me travel to another state during school. Maybe the holidays, Kimmy said with a sigh. They chatted for another half hour, planning potential visits, talking about the MDC orientation, school, and how much they missed each other, before finally saying goodnight. As soon as the call ended, Tess quickly texted Kimmy. #MDGirlRoll #FSmore. A few moments later, Kimmy replied. #MDQueenofHeart #miss you. Bye.